welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. Although I don't think too many people really want to do that today. Although the thing is, all right, so we lost again. And I know I talked about this last week on the show about, we've got a lot of new players, we got new coaches, there's going to be some bumps. It's going to take a little while, I know that, but this was a clusterfuck yesterday, and it was ridiculous. The last 5 quarters, I don't know what happened to the defense. In the first game on Monday night last week, the defense was there for 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter, I don't know what happened, and then the shit hit the fan. I mean, we just fell apart, and it continued yesterday. I mean, I'm going to give you a couple statistics, and you're just going to be like, whoa, it is bad. It's bad. We've got a problem. There's a real problem here, and I think his name is Poles. It's starting to show its ugly head that we've made another bad, shocking decision on a GM, but I think we have. But let's talk about yesterday, and I want to say this. Believe me, I am madder than hell. I could bite off a snake's head. I'm so pissed. But it's only 2 games. So I'm trying to be optimistic here, right? It's hard, though, when you've got a team that it looks so bad and you just cannot figure out why. I mean, we know why, but, it just shouldn't be. And to me, I started talking about polls in the offseason, and when this show started this season, and I'm going to continue, I really think it's the players. I mean, I don't know what else we can say. I mean, we can blame the coaches, Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen. It's only been 2 games, but it's got to be the people they put on the field aren't producing, right? So let's get into what happened yesterday. We all know we lost 21-52. Now, I will point out something to you that Kansas City, remember them, the really good team, Kansas City Chiefs, they're 0-2 too. So I'm just saying. But I want to do like I always do in the beginning of the show after a game. I'm going to do a few stats, and then we're going to get into the nuts and bolts on, in my opinion, what happened yesterday. It's really quite obvious. We're going to talk about no defense, duh. No running game, double duh. They couldn't get 4th down. They couldn't get a first down on 2 4th downs. And my favorite, penalties. Oh, my God. They are so destructive. They are so unproductive. They do such damage. And it showed again yesterday. I really thought after last week's game with those 12 penalties that Ben Johnson was going to have them under 5. That's the rule, 5 or under. But no. It was still sloppy as ever. So we'll get into it. But let's do a few stats. I'm not going to give a lot of shout-outs because no one deserves it except for one player on the Bears team, and I am going to shout him out. But the stats, sometimes I tend to go into more, but this isn't worth it. So for Cade Williams, he was 19 of 30 for 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And that interception hurt us because when it went back to Detroit, they ended up going down the field and scoring a touchdown. He was sacked 4 times, and he rushed 27. Now, as far as Williams goes, I felt like I saw less indecision on his part in Sunday's game opposed to last Monday's game. I really do. So, but the sacks, I think we're on both, him and the line. And you know what? Again, the line is all brand new guys practically. Well, they are. I mean, some Braxton Jones has been on the team, but they have to mesh together. They just started playing. Remember, they didn't play in the preseason. See, it really shows, and I've told you, you really don't know until game 3 what kind of a team you have, and everybody's finally starting to come together and working together because they don't work them in the off-season anymore in camp because it's in their contracts, the big babies. So, that's why. And I really, really, really do think the offensive line will come around. There's talent there. There's talent. So, and we did play a pissed off and good Detroit team. They were humiliated like we were yesterday, but the week before by Green Bay. So, but Williams. Well, we're blaming this loss on the defense, hands down. Offense could have scored more, yes. But the fact that Detroit was running up and down the field, I mean, nobody knew what the hell was going on, right? So, okay, Goff was 23 of 28. Nice numbers. 334 yards, 5 touchdowns. Wouldn't you love for me to be saying that's Williams' game? That's what we need from our quarterback. Okay, let's talk about the pathetic running attack we have that, between the no run game and penalties, you know what? They drive me freaking crazy. And this has always been my complaint for the last couple years for sure. There was a total of 134 total yards the Bears rushed for. 63 by Swift. He did score 1 touchdown, but he fumbled the ball. Now, the only good thing about when he fumbled the ball, they did not end up getting points from that fumble because they did get close to getting a field goal and they missed. So it was on their thing. But, 63 ain't doing it. You got to get 100 or more, okay? That's what our running back, and we don't have him. As I said a million times, you know it. He's not a power back, and it shows. I was watching the earlier because I ended up watching this with my son and his family, so we had to record it because my son works early and he trains in the morning, so we recorded it and we watched this game in the afternoon yesterday. So I was watching some of the morning games, and I was watching the Dallas Giants game. And they got the running back, one of the running backs I would have liked, and his name is Scadaboo. And he came from somewhere in the West, one of those teams. And this guy's a power back, man. I saw him in college carrying many people on his back. And in this game yesterday for the he's a Giant. He was going to it was 1st and 10. And he had 2 guys on him, and they were on him, and he got 5 yards. And he is a power back. Now, they say he might have concussion problems, but, at this point, I'm not even going to say. It still doesn't excuse why polls did not go higher in the draft for a running back. You can't go at the end when you are desperately need a running game and you don't got one. Swift is not the answer. I've been saying it for 2 years now. Our rookie, number 25, Kyle Lem, I can't say his last name, but he was drafted later rounds, maybe 5th, 6th, something like that. He got 28 yards. Williams had 27 yards, our quarterback. Number 14, OZ, had 9 yards, and Pageant came in late so that they took Williams out probably so he wouldn't get hurt, and Pageant had 7 yards rushing. The Lions, of course, had a much better day. They had a total of 177 yards rushing. Number 6, Gibbs, had 94. He's on my fantasy team. Thank you. And number 5, David Montgomery, well known in the Bears camp. Shouldn't have let him go, right? 57 yards. That's another one. Shouldn't have let him go. I know he had injury issues, but if you're not going to go get another running back, then you should have kept Montgomery. But they have a running attack. And you see when you can run the ball like they could against us, then the defense has to respect that, and then that opens up the passing. And look what he was doing, right? 5 touchdowns he threw for. 5. I know. So that's what a running game could do, and that is a running game. What the Bears have is not a running game. Sure, they had 134 yards, but they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys had to contribute to that. And one of them's your quarterback. Not the answer. Not the answer. Okay, so total yards for our wide receivers yesterday was 234 yards. Rome, I'm going to give a shout out to number 15, Rome. He had a great day. He had 128 yards with 2 touchdowns. And he was making it. He was really doing a good job yesterday. Only one that stood out to me. Number 2, Moore, had 46 yards. Clement, our tight end, 29 yards. Their wide receivers, the Lions, had 334 yards, as I just told you. That's what he threw for. And Brown, their leading one of their wide receivers, 14 Brown, had 115 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns. And number 1, Williams, another wonderful wide receiver, they have 108 yards receiving with 1 touchdown. So, so much better. The offense And Swift, I wrote this down. Swift, I was talking about Swift was 21st out of running backs last year. That's not what the Bears paid him for. I don't know what Poles was thinking. Now, Poles had to know he wasn't a power back. Everybody knows that. He's more of a finesse guy. Great in space, throwing them, getting some yards, but not getting those desperate 2, 3, 4 yards you need on 4th and 1, 4th and 5. The Bears went for it twice on 4th down, and they did not get it. I read one thing that somebody wrote. One of the radio people in Chicago or something pointing out that the team's lack of poise in key situations, particularly failing on 3rd and 4th downs where they needed to convert the most. They were just horrible, terrible. And of course, the offense had 2 turnovers. Now, when I talk about turnovers, I'm talking about our team getting turnovers. Cabe threw for the interception, which cost 7 points, and then Swift fumbled the ball. Did not cost us points, but when you fumble a ball and it goes to the other team, whether they get points or not, it's just destructive. It stops your drive. It makes your defense have to come out on the field again. And you're giving them opportunities, and it's in your head now, and it's in the player's head who fumbled the ball, and now all the defensive players are going after that guy because they know he's going to fumble. So they're just so unproductive. And this defense yesterday, clearly, defense, I don't know what happened. The last 5 quarters, they have just disappeared. It is unbelievable. Get this. The last time the Bears lost by these many points, by 55, we gave them 52. But the last time was in Green Bay when we gave up 55 points in November of 2014. And guess who our wonderful head coach was then? Trestman. It's so fucking embarrassing. And then I read that the Bears were the defense was giving up 8.18 yards per play. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you average it out, it really is, and it's bad. And you know what? The last time they did that, the whole defense did that, was in 1961. So, the Bears have been solid for a long time, but yesterday, oh my God, what is going on? What the hell, right? My God, they gave up a total of, they gave up a total of 511 yards with no turnovers by the defense, no sacks. They had a sack, but because of a penalty, shock, Sweat didn't get his first sack. The defense looked bad. They gave up way too many long passes. At least 2 times I can remember, their wide receivers were all alone by themselves out there, and Goff just I could have thrown and caught it and run for a touchdown. That's how wide open they were. I don't understand it. Our backfield is one of the strongest parts of this defense, and they looked horrible. Now, Gordon wasn't in there yesterday, and then JJ, he played the first quarter. I think he went out. He never came back for the second half, that's for sure. He got hurt again. Edwards got hurt again. I think they were rushed too fast back to the field because they both got hurt right away. So we were missing them again, missing Gordon, and it showed. Our backfield looked terrible. And I think that Dennis Allen, who's supposed to be this great coordinator, I think he called a really bad game. And I think he's putting his players he's not putting his players in the best position to succeed. And that D-line, what is going on? They're not getting there. They get there, but they're not. It looks good, but it's really not, because they're not getting in their faces to make a difference. Like I said, Sweat almost had a sack, but it was taken away from a penalty. But, almost, and that was the first and last time we were close. The D-line, what is going on? Now, maybe the D-line I don't think it's the same as an offensive line where these guys gel together because it's a much different position. But the D-line ain't doing it. You know, you signed Swift a couple of years ago, and ever since when he first came to the team, he was playing really hard, and then you gave him a big, giant, juicy contract, Poles, and he's been shit ever since. He has not led the teams. He hasn't had double-digit sacks since. No. So, what the hell? Again, Poles signing. You know, this defense, and they can't stop the run, 177 yards. If you're going to continuously give an NFL team 100-plus yards a game, you're not going to win. It's just not going to happen. And then, you know, like I said, it was, 8.8 yards per play allowed. And, of course, some plays had, 25 yards, but they just average it out. But yes, and that's the first game allowed since 1961. Now, I told you that Edwards, 53 Edwards, and number 1 JJ both left the game early to injuries. They were making a difference, and then they went out and never came back in for the second half, and it showed. But if you are, okay, so you had Gordon, JJ, and Edwards. Edwards is our middle linebackers, and then JJ and Gordon are backfield guys. And yeah, 3 guys is bad, but there's a lot of teams that have that. And if this is how bad we look, we're really in deep shit, guys. The defense is allowed in 2 weeks 79 points. 2 weeks, 79 points. I mean, I can't even remember the last time the Bears defenses looked that bad, even last year. Now, they looked really bad the game after we had that Hail Mary, that big fuck up. I don't think this team, quite honestly, has been the same since that Washington Hail Mary game. It has not been the same. I really thought Ben Johnson was going to come in, erase all that bad juju, erase all that bad crap. But to me, it doesn't seem like it's happening. And I just don't understand. Now, I know, Dennis Allen, no excuses. Ben Johnson's never been a head coach, all right? He's been an offensive coordinator, but never a head coach. And there's a big difference between offensive coordinating and head coaching. Way more experience expected on you as a head coach. So he's probably going to need some more time. But Dennis Allen, no excuse. You've been a D coordinator for a very, very long time. You were even a head coach, so you know. And this is the defense you put out there. I just don't think he called a good game. I don't understand. The defense did not look like they know what was going on. They looked slow. They looked like they didn't give a shit, actually. And Detroit came out firing from the minute that fat lady sings till the end when the gun goes. They looked like they were playing an NFL game and they wanted to win that game. They came out and they never stopped. That's a good team. Dan Campbell, congratulations, because we ain't got it. Our team looked nowhere near that. They just looked lethargic, especially the defense. They just did not, I don't know. Did they not know where to be? I mean, what is it? What is it? Is it the fact that we're missing these key players? Do they make you all look good? Is it the fact that you really aren't that good, all these players that the Bears have been bringing on the team and signed in the offseason? I know we signed some D guys. We gave Swift 2 years ago a big, giant contract. What is the problem here? Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Let me finish up with the fact that the other reason. So the defense sucked yesterday. The backfield, horrible. I mean, those passes were, I just couldn't believe how wide open some of them. They're probably still laughing in Detroit. And the fact that we have no run game on the offense, none whatsoever. It's too predictable. And I just don't see us making the long plays like Detroit was making. Getting Cabe out there to get these long passes, I don't see it. So the Bears had, let's get to my favorite part, the penalties. The Bears had, on paper, 8 penalties, but they had more because at least 2 that I know of, 2 to 3 were refused by Detroit. So there's more than 8, and they were very destructive. They're so destructive. They're so unproductive. They're so undisciplined. It just shows that your team is not disciplined. Their heads are not in the game, and the majority, once again, were on the offense. Several were pre-snaps again. So, and so I've just put a couple of them down that I made notes. The very first play of the game, the kickoff to Detroit, the special teams of the Bears got a penalty and gave Detroit excellent field position, and then went right down and scored a touchdown. Now, I'm not saying because of the penalty they scored the touchdown, but right off the bat, the first play is a penalty? And then in the second quarter, the offense had 2 penalties on a drive that kept pushing us back. And then right after that, after the second penalty, Williams throws the interception, and they go down and score a touchdown. Penalties, see how unproductive they were? If we hadn't had 2 and we would have gotten the first downs we probably were going to get, then Williams doesn't most likely throw that interception. It's just a fact. And then in the third quarter, there was a drive, and the offense was so bad, they got a penalty right off the bat, 1st and 10, and then they went 3 and out because they couldn't come back from it. So it's just, the Bears aren't good enough to overcome these penalties because, the head coach or the offensive coordinator sends out a play, and the play it's to be run on 1st and 10, or 2nd and 5, or 2nd and whatever, and 3rd and 2. Not 1st and 20, 2nd and 20, 2nd and 15. It's not for those. And when you have 2 on one possession, then it's probably, God knows, you could be 2nd and 25. I know at one point there was a down. It was 2nd and 25. There was also a down 3rd and 32. I mean, you're going the wrong way, offense. Do they practice backwards in Lake Forest? I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's just these penalties. It's just lack of discipline. And they're not thinking. Come on, guys. And I just realized I'm not thinking. I didn't start my timer again. My brain is so pickled. You know what? I just, that's what happens when you're old and you're 67 and you've partied a lot and had a lot of fun and fallen a few times, smacked your head. It's going to be pickled, trust me. But anyway, so yeah, it's just horrible. Okay, so then I'm thinking both coaches. I'm pissed at both coaches. I think the head coach makes a mistake. Again, all right, now I know people argue with me all the time about taking points too early or going for it on 4th down. And good teams can go pretty much anywhere on the field for 4th down and 1 or 2, 3, anywhere and get it. Not the Bears. But this was ridiculous. It was in the second quarters. We were on the Lions side of the field around the 35-yard line. Yeah, so all they needed was 35 yards, the Lions, to get a touchdown if they got the ball. The Bears go for it on 4th and 1, and of course, didn't make it. So who gets the ball? The Lions. And I said, but I will say the defense did not allow him to score because they went down and they kicked a field goal to miss it. I said that, and I apologize. I said Swift, when he fumbled the ball, they didn't score, but they didn't. But they didn't miss the field goal. Detroit missed the field goal when we gave him the ball on the 35-yard line. But that was ridiculous. He should never have done that. Now, if it's on the other side of the field, okay, but not on their side. In the second quarter, when you haven't managed to score many points at all, you scored 7. The offense scored 17 last week, not 24, because the defense scored 7 of those 24 points. Remember that. So your offense isn't whipping out points here. So you don't do that. Kick that ball way back. It was still the second quarter, so they hadn't run all over us yet. You pin them back. Maybe they're pinned back, they call a play, they fumble the ball, you get a safety. You don't know what could happen when you're pushing an offense way back and on their, and making them having to drive the whole field. But no, Bears head coach just gave them. Now, they didn't get the points, but it's really not, because you're right. You know I'm right about this. Should never have done it. Now, they tried it twice, and both times they did not get a first down on 4. It was 4-1 this time, and then in the third or fourth quarter they went for it. I understand that. It was 4th and 5, and of course they didn't get that either. I mean, really. So, it's just, these things are just mounting up and mounting up and mounting. The Bears start out this year with new players, new coaches, supposed to be a new atmosphere, and this is what we all know they needed, because they lacked leadership, guidance, support, knowledge last year. We felt like they had it this year, coming in with Ben Johnson as the head coach and Dennis Allen as the D coordinator. And I got to tell you what, not impressed with either one of them so far. Not so much Dennis Allen until yesterday when the defense, I just don't know what happened. I am seriously dumbfounded about the Bears did that. Seriously, I cannot believe they gave up 52 points. They gave up only 52 yards. I wouldn't be doing this, right? 52 points. And I heard somebody said, I can't believe they were still scoring points. It's the NFL. And then I heard Ben Johnson say, hey, listen, at the end, he said he felt like Dan Campbell was being, because he said Dan Campbell doesn't go for field goals very often, and he did at the end of this second half of this game. He started going for him, and he said he felt like that was his way of saying, sorry, man, So, but it don't matter. It's the NFL, and if the other team's that bad and they're letting you score, well, of course you're going to. You don't think the Bears would do the same if it was flipped? Of course they would. So, what is going on with this team? Well, I don't know. It starts with the head coach and the D coordinator and the offensive coordinator. And I don't even know who that is, to be quite honest, because I just consider Ben the offensive coordinator. And they're not doing their job. So this is what we're lacking. So the Bears do not have a run game at all, which is hurting Cabe Williams. And Cabe is not getting, I don't know if he's not getting them or they're not calling him, but he's just not throwing it downfield enough. And then when he does, we're seeing misses. Open guys, misses. He seemed a little bit better yesterday than he did on Monday, like I said, but he's still got a lot of learning to do, this kid. So I'm not really blaming it on him. In our line, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, our offensive line, a couple more games and see if they can pull it together. This loss was not on them. So, no running game, no discipline on penalties, no defense, and the coaches are calling bad schemes and making bad decisions. This is what's happening, and what it means is we're looking like the same team as last year. That's what I think it's probably driving people crazy. I know it's driving me crazy. If we were just losing by a few points and we were making strides and you've seen improvement, you can live with it, because it is only 2 games and teams have come back. When you're trying to figure out, you got the pieces, you just haven't gotten them in the right places. But that doesn't look like the case here. They look like they have to fucking start all over again. So where does it start? Poles, our GM. I'm starting to think, I started thinking it last year, I said it on my show, some of these players he's been drafting, he got lucky with that Carolina one, so everybody thought he was God, but since then he hasn't. Do you know what our record is since Poles been our GM? 15 wins and 38 losses. Now, I saw this stat, and it said 15 and 36, so I don't know if it's 15 or 36 or 15 or 38, but I checked it out online. And last year, he drafts in the first round a tight end at number 9 or 10, right? Now, I don't mind going to get a tight end, but not the first round. If you're going to do that, then go for a freaking running back, because we have no running game. And he knew it. Every year, the last 3 years, he has avoided a big problem. I don't know what he's doing. He doesn't see it. He thinks it's going to fix itself. Well, and then in round 2, he gets a wide receiver, and then he started making 2 of our second and third draft choices were healthy scratches yesterday. Don't know what that's all about. And so he's not doing what he should be doing. We're not having winning seasons. So with him being there, we haven't had any winning seasons. We haven't had any playoff appearances. And we've had 2 seasons with 5 or fewer wins. Now, how is he still our GM? How many GMs survived that? And they gave him an extension. Oh my God. Thank God there are no guns in this house. I'm really people beginning to believe. Now, of course, there's nothing we can do about it now because it's the middle of the season. Even if you fired him, which they're not going to do, it wouldn't matter. The players are in place. This is what we've got for the rest of the year. And now with, Edwards going back hurt, I heard, and I don't know, but I heard with JJ, this groin is bad, and he could miss some substantial time. And what kind of pisses me off is we don't really know. It happened before camp. I don't know if people know that. This happened while he was working out on his own. At least that's what he told the Bears. So something happened there, and it wasn't under the Bears' watch. It was when he was on his own. So, and now we're paying the price. And he just signed a big contract last year, too. Boy, you get these guys. Swift was doing great, signs a big contracts, been shit ever since. JJ, Now I know injuries, you can't predict them, but still. So JJ does that, and then now he's hurt, and he could miss. Who knows? You never know. He could miss the rest of the season. I mean, the way things are going, it wouldn't surprise me. So, bottom line, I don't want to keep repeating myself. So, I think we've got a real problem here, and I think it starts with Poles. I don't think he's been drafting properly. So these coaches come in, and I'm not entirely. I can't say I'm going to blame the offense on this. It's the defense that is worrying me more and more each game. I was worried about our linebackers, our middle guys, going into the draft, and it really wasn't addressed that much. And I've been worried about that. I've been worried about the D-line. We're not getting sacks. We're not causing enough turnovers. Of course, that happens with the backfield. And we've been, the best part of our team for the last couple of years has been the backfield. Last year and this year for sure. Yesterday, I think they forgot to come to the game. I don't know what happened. But so it's the players. And unfortunately, these are what we have. So what we got to hope now is that it is growing pains. It's only 2 games. That Ben will turn this around. First of all, he's got to start with these fucking penalties, okay? Enough is enough. You're shooting yourself in the foot every time that yellow flag comes out and it's on you. And that is something you can clean up. And I'm just surprised they weren't cleaned up in week 2. And Dennis Allen got to go back out, and you got to get in these guys' faces, and you got to make them want to play. I just didn't see that yesterday at all from our defense. And if it's lack of players, then we have a real problem, and you're going to just have to scheme these guys and call plays that's going to make them succeed, because that's not what happened yesterday. And I don't want to see, Dennis Allen scratching his head. And Ben Johnson. I don't know. That's what I feel like. Don't you? Now, my threes, I always say before the game, if you have 5 or less penalties, you're doing great. If you get turnovers, awesome. And you cut down and don't have 3 and outs, you're in the game and you can win the game. The Bears, the only thing they improved on yesterday was 3 and outs. They only had 1 3 and out, and the reason they had that 3 and out was because of a penalty. So they lost the penalties and they lost the turnovers. So they didn't do my threes. I'm just saying, you don't do my threes, you're not winning that game. So I don't know what else to say. You know what? I told you what happened. And I think you're all starting to see that this old lady knows what she's talking about. No running game. You're not going to win. You're hurting your quarterback. And you're, it's just not helping. And it's just, you're just feeding into the other team. You're just giving it to them. And again, I won't stop saying Swift is not a good running back. I'm sorry, he's just not. He may get, got 63 yards. People, 63 yards. That's not what you're paying him for. He's your leading running back, which he should not be. He should be a second guy, and we should have had a David Montgomery or a Scadaboo that the Giants got, that I wanted them to draft as your power back, and then Swift can complement him. If we had a Saquon Barkley as our main runner and Swift as the finesse guy. Well, Detroit has it, Gibbs and Montgomery. Duh. See how it works? Montgomery and Gibbs are sort of alike, stature-wise and stuff, but you need a good 1-2 punch on the running backs, and we don't got it. We haven't had that for a long time. So, people, it's 2 games, so I'm going to try to be positive here. I didn't flip out today like I did last week, even though I was pissed. I think this is either in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to see a complete turnaround and some of these things cleaned up enough to get by and get some wins, or we're going to go through another very long season. And I mean it. If that happens, Poles got to. Well, I think Poles has got to go anyways. But you know how the Bears are, and they just gave him an extension. I don't know why they did that. I know why, because they want the GM and the and head coach to have the same year's amount. But they didn't need to do that with Poles. They could have waited another year, and then seen how this went. So they made a big mistake there. They're drinking the Kool-Aid, the Poles Kool-Aid. And next week, it's not getting any easier. We're playing Dallas. I know. And the only fortunate thing, it is at home. But Dallas is playing well. I mean, the Giants gave them a run for their money yesterday. They won, but barely. So I kind of like that. But they put up 44 points yesterday, Dallas, I think. Something like that. I'm not absolutely sure. So, but their defense looks like they're vulnerable, because they gave up 42 points, I think, against the Giants. So I'm thinking, okay, if the Bears can settle these penalties down, get this offensive line working better, get Cabe each week a little bit better, pray that the running game somehow it fixes itself next week, we could win. We can do it. Anybody can be beaten on any given Sunday. Just remember that. Remember, Kansas City is 0-2. I'm just saying. So, yeah, and then, so we're playing Dallas next Sunday, and then the following week, which is the 28th, I think, the Bears are coming here to Vegas. And the stadium is like 10 minutes from my house. And I saw them when they came here in 2021, but the tickets have been around $400 when the fees are all paid and everything. And I'm just not going to spend that, because especially where the Bears are looking. If I went and spent that and they look like this, I'd be livid. But I really want to go. My son and his wife are going because my daughter-in-law's father has season tickets. So they're going to go there. My son and I used his season tickets in 2021, and now he's taken his wife, which he should. Now, I might go to the game. They have a site that's called Last Minute Tickets, something like that. So I'm going to try the night before the game, maybe early in the morning, to see if I can get a ticket around $200 or less, I'd probably go. But we'll see. It just sucks when they're right here, you know what I mean? But what are you going to do? Anyways, you don't want to hear about that. So listen, I pretty much told you why we lost. Isn't anything new there. No defense. No defense. Is that right? And you didn't get to hear a victory song. Oh, well, until they will win. No victory song from Lynn. So anyways, this is about it. We've got some problems, and if they don't get them fixed in the next couple weeks, it's going to be a long season. But I'm going to give them this month of September to see what they do. The first 4 games, and if nothing's changed, then I'm just going to say to you guys, we're fucked. All right, so that's it. I didn't freak out because you know why? I'm like, listen, my fans can't take it. We're too, you know what? I've been a fan for 50 years now, and I did figure it out once. I've seen more losses than wins. That's really sad, and I'm still a fan. And you know what? I am. Oh, I'll tell you about this the next time. I'll show you on Friday's show a little surprise. I'll show you that Friday. My niece made these really, really cool shirts for me and my son and his family, and I'll show them to you on Friday. So listen, you guys, keep your chin up. Stick together, Bears fans. We have to stick together. We have to believe. We just have to believe. And I'm telling you, let's stick with them for the next couple games. And then if we have to discuss further, we will. But I'm saying, let's just see if we could turn this thing around. Maybe this was an anomaly. I don't know. But let's hope this anomaly goes away. So thank you for watching, as always. And I always leave my show the same way. Love one another. Respect people. Help people out if they need it. Be there for people. You know what? Just don't say nasty shit. Just, keep that stuff to yourself. You have every right to think stuff like that. But you know what? Just let's get along. It is so hard out there and so tough right now. So let's just love one another and try to have peace, right? And Bears fans, we're sticking together. Come on, let's give them the month. And then I'll take care of them if they don't turn it around, all right? So I will see you guys Friday. We'll go over the show that's going to be in Soldier Field on Sunday, and I think it's a 3:30 game, 3:15 or something like that in Soldier Field against Dallas. So I'll be back Friday to go over that, talk about how they're going to win, and hopefully all this shit goes away. So anyways, thank you for watching us. Don't give up on them yet. Go Bears, baby, and keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby.